and welcome to Totally Schway Flip Side, a podcast about whatever the hell I want it to be about. My name's Mary.
My name is Luke.
And today, the podcast is going to be about Thunderbolts, or should I say the new Avengers?
Oh, big spoilers. I can't believe it, Mary. You spoiled the ending of the movie.
Can we just get straight into it? I have things I want to say.
Go on then. Go on. It's your podcast. I mean, you decide what we talk about. It's fine.
Okay. First and foremost, this was a great movie. I really liked the mental health talking. I really liked that. It wasn't too obvious, but it was obvious enough, and it really it hit home for me. And I didn't enjoy that, but I was really happy that they did it. And Florence Pugh's character, Yelena, was just so perfect in dealing with not only just being badass, but also dealing with someone with mental health issues. And it was beautiful to see. I think she's an amazing actress. I've seen her in so many different things, but it always goes back to that wrestling movie.
Was that her?
I think it was her.
Was it really? Huh.
I think so. I can't remember the name of it, but it was an English movie, wasn't it?
Fighting with My Family.
Yeah, I think that was her.
It was a WWE movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and produced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But obviously about an English person. And what's her name? Saraya Knight. That's her name. People might know her as, what was her wrestling name? Was it Paige?
It was Florence Pugh.
It was Florence Pugh. Yeah, unbelievable. I guess I didn't recognise her because she had dark hair in that movie, which just goes to show how...
Wow, movie magic.
Yeah, and it's as you said, the magic of movies. Someone has completely transformed. Also, it was, 10, 15 years ago when it came out? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, massive sidetrack.
So forgive me if I don't get... I'm just going to say this straight off. Forgive me if I can't tell you the actors' names, but I could probably tell you about 5, 6, 7 movies that they've been in.
Well, why don't you just bring up the cast list on your little iPad there, and then you can refer to it. So
the guy from Stranger Things, what's his name?
Which guy from Stranger Things? David Harbour.
Yes, David Harbour. Okay, I knew his last name was Harbour. He was great in this as well.
You also know him from something else we watched relatively recently. He was Frankenstein, Eric Frankenstein in Creature Commandos.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
Shut up!
How did you not know that?
He was Eric?
Yes, he was Eric Frankenstein.
Shut the front door!
Yeah.
Again, I love that. Two things he's been really great. I mean, he's, from what I've seen of Mr. Harbour, he's a really great actor.
Yeah, he's very good at playing like likable, casual characters. If I put it nicely, I mean, you might say slobs. But even when he lost a lot of weight and got very trim, he still seems to portray the slob as he is with like the Red Guardian. When Yelena turns up at his house unexpectedly, he's like running around trying to get rid of the clutter, wearing his dressing gown. He's sitting around in his underwear. He uses dish soap to clean his teeth, presumably to wash the smell of booze off of his breath.
That doesn't always work.
No.
Well, I, to be honest with you, I've never really been a big drinker, but I know that sometimes even brushing your teeth doesn't get it out. So, another person, Wyatt Russell.
Yes.
Who I love from, I'm going to get this, the Monsters, the Apple TV show with his dad in it.
The
Godzilla show. Yeah. I freaking loved that show. Yeah, he was great in it. Did you even realize that was his son?
Yes, I knew that because you said that when we watched, or when I started watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. That's where he first appeared as the new Captain America.
Oh, I walked in and said something like that.
You said that's Goldie Hawn's son, is what you said.
Yeah.
I think it was
Kurt Russell's son.
Oh, did you? I thought you said Goldie Hawn's, but anyway.
Who's, by the way, in love with the beautiful, talented, amazing Goldie Hawn. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, who isn't, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, he's had quite a journey, his character, I should say, because he was, selected to be the new Captain America, and he just had a complete breakdown, and he killed a suspect in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and was disgraced. But Mary's just scrolling through the rest of the cast here, and this is not the only Nepo baby in the cast. We also have Lewis Pullman as Bob, also known as the Sentry.
We love Bob, though.
And Lewis Pullman is Bill Pullman's son.
No way!
Yes, he is.
Did you just read that?
No, I just knew that.
Oh, I did not know that. Do you know who he looks like? Glenn Powell.
He does a little bit, doesn't he?
But they've also been in the same movie together. Weren't they both in Top Gun Maverick?
Were they?
I think so.
Oh, she's going to look.
Yeah. I mean, we could have done research beforehand, but...
I mean, I know the stuff about the comic characters, but not the actors. So one thing I wanted to talk about with the Sentry is he is a very interesting character. So he was created in the early 2000s by Paul Jenkins, and who was the artist on Sentry? Was it Jay Lee? I believe it was. I'm going to keep saying that it was Jay Lee. I know he did the covers. But he was presented as this forgotten Marvel character from in the real world. Like, oh yeah, Stan Lee created this character in the 60s, but he never took off. Mm-hmm. He was another superhero, a Superman type, that got his powers from a formula developed by a scientist. And they actually brought in Stan Lee to pretend that he had created this character. And the joke I'm going to make is that Stan Lee had a lot of experience taking credit for creations that he wasn't necessarily involved in. So it was an easy fit for him. But they revealed by the end of the Sentry's miniseries that he was also the world's worst supervillain, the Void. Which they handled very nicely in this film. Like, the Void is the representation of all of his anxiety and his negative feelings.
It was beautiful.
Like that voice in your head that says, "What's the point in doing anything?" That's who the Void is. And they did kind of replicate the Thanos finger snap a little bit, because the Void would just point at people and they would just turn into shadows and disappear. It was very reminiscent of that. However, the difference was that they weren't killed. They were sent inside of their own headspace, their own insecurities, and they were able to come back from it, which I thought was very pleasant. Yeah. Very good message, I think. Very, as you were saying, it's very much about mental health issues, anxiety, and self-doubt.
The way that they handled Bob/the Void is a great example of how to modernize comic book characters for the now. Mm-hmm. Because you took someone who wasn't that popular, let's be honest. I mean, he could have been that. I'm talking about right now.
Hey now. The Sentry... All right, yeah, his book didn't sell massively, but he was a member of the Avengers and the New Avengers for a while. So,
but what I'm talking about is like right now, as in before this came out, and a way to get people to actually look into that character more and actually be a fan of that character again. It's a great way to do that. Now the other main character, Antonia. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, she was the Taskmaster.
Yeah, the Taskmaster.
Oh, they were cheeky with the Taskmaster, weren't they? Because in a lot of the promotional material in the trailer, you see the Taskmasters in a lot of scenes. Mm-hmm. But this is the big spoiler here. But Taskmaster gets killed very early on. She's killed by the lady that plays the ghost. What is her name? Geraldine.
No, that's not her. That's that's Mel. This is Olga.
Yeah, that's Taskmaster, but who plays the ghost is what I'm asking.
Is that Mel?
I don't know. Mel was the assistant.
Let's see who plays. Ava?
Might be. Hannah John-Kamen, is that her name?
Oh, yes, it
Kamen,
is.
Excuse me, Kamen. Yeah, that's her. So she was in, what was it, Ant-Man 2? She was one of the villains from that movie, Ghost, the person who could phase through walls.
I didn't even see, honestly, I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
But I was so happy with this character because you see a good journey in this. No, is it a journey that you want to write home about? Maybe, whatever. What I'm saying about that, was it like one of the main plot things? No. But the journey was good. You got to know this character. You got to know why she was the way she is. And you got to know how she deals with people. And then you see why she likes people and why she doesn't like people.
Yeah, there was a very good scene early on. Maybe we should explain the premise of how they meet up a bit more. If you've been keeping up with like the Marvel movies and particularly like Black Widow.
So Julia Louis-Dreyfus called up the Marvel. She's like, babe, listen to me. I want to be in the movie. I want to play like a character that, holds her own with a cool assistant. And then Marvel's like, let's ask Disney. Disney's like, it's Dreyfus. I mean, give her what she wants.
Oh my God, it's almost like I was there.
Yeah, give her what she wants. What's his name? Bob?
Bob who?
The main Disney guy.
One of them was,
Yeah. So, anyways, they're like, yeah, give her whatever she wants. And she's like, okay, I want Florence. I want David. And I want everybody else. And Stan. Let's get
Sebastian Stan.
Let's get Stan in there too. I saw Pam and Tommy.
I thought you were going to say you were referring to Stan Lee for a second. I'm sorry, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but he passed away. Doesn't matter. Bring him back.
I have not seen Pam and Tommy, by the way. No. But she was like, yeah, let's do it. Obviously, I'm joking. If you guys didn't know, I don't know Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
She's not been spying on Disney.
No. Although, if I met her, I would be very happy. Like, honestly. But, would you like to do the premise of the movie?
Okay, so she's been in a lot of the movies and the TV shows, kind of rounding up her own little team of people to work for her. Is she the director of the CIA in this movie? I believe that was her job title,
I don't
wasn't
think it's the CIA.
Well, she was the director of some clandestine organisation that reports to the US government.
But, to be honest, after hearing this podcast and actually doing this podcast, I would not be surprised if in the States they would say, like, a celebrity was going to be the head of the CIA.
Well, yes.
Obviously not from hearing us, but just,
just
give it time.
Yeah, that's how things are working out at the moment.
Yeah.
But basically, she's being investigated by a group of senators who are talking about impeaching her, which she does not want. So she's going around cleaning up all the evidence of her wrongdoing. And part of that involves getting all of her superpowered agents together and basically assigning them to kill each other without them knowing that that's what their assignment is. So Yelena's sent after John Walker, who is US agent. No, sorry, she was sent after Ghost, wasn't she? And John Walker was sent after Yelena, and Ghost was sent after Taskmaster, and Taskmaster was sent after US agent. There we go.
Yelena was sent after Taskmaster, wasn't she?
No, she was sent after Ghost.
Oh, Ghost, yeah.
And so they're all in this this facility out in the middle of nowhere, trying to kill each other. But in reality, the place that they are fighting in is also a furnace where all the evidence is going to be burnt, including their bodies.
Somebody watched No Country for Old Men?
Possibly.
Somebody watched that.
Somebody has watched that. I'm sure I've watched it as well, but I can't remember anything about it.
You remember the ending, right? It's also a GTA 5. They all kill each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. Yes, I remember the ending now. Yes. You've made me lose my train of thought. But anyway, oh yeah, they realise what's going on after Ghost kills Taskmaster, and then they work together to escape and go on the run and uncover Vanessa De Fontaine. That's her name, isn't it? Uncover her wrongdoing. But what they also find in this bunker is just some random guy in a hospital gown called Bob, who doesn't really know why he's there. He had signed up for some sort of test.
Bob.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing.
I kind of think Bob's probably one of my favorite superheroes.
Yeah. Yes. But they escape from this facility, and during the conflict with the armed forces that turn up to try and kill them, it's revealed that Bob has superpowers. He is basically invincible. He can fly. He is a superhero that Vanessa was trying to build build by herself. Basically, they'd done a whole bunch of market research into designing his costume and his powers and his abilities. But for some reason, they were testing it on volunteers in an Asian country. I forget where it was. I think it was Indonesia. I think that's what he said. Presumably because of their looser laws around human testing. And Bob was a backpacker that was travelling the world trying to find himself after dealing with his drug addiction problems brought about by being abused as a child. So
we
he's
love a sober king.
Yeah, and he's not exactly a stable person, but he's trying his best.
Yeah, that's all that
matters.
The
thing. Yes. And the I guess that basically, as you might have guessed from my brief description there, is that when Vanessa discovers that actually Bob was successful in the experiment, she decides she's going to go to market with him to try and get these senators off her back. However, he is unstable and has a bit of a god complex. And when Vanessa and her assistant activate a kill switch in Bob, that brings out his negative side, the Void, who then goes around essentially casting everyone into their own personal hells. Which is a very unpleasant thing for, obviously, most people that are involved. And the Thunderbolts, as they call themselves, after Yelena's childhood soccer team, they band together to try and break Bob out of his own personal hell to try and banish the Void. And obviously they succeed, but it's decided that Bob cannot be the Sentry, because if he does, then the Void will come along with him, and the Void is too powerful and too nasty. So Bob gets to sit on the sidelines from that point on, with his feet up, chilling out, doing dishes and stuff like that. But the ending of the movie finds the Thunderbolts coming together and trying to expose Vanessa. But she gets the drop on them by summoning a press conference to announce that she has formed the new Avengers, which consists entirely of this group of people that got together. She obviously, it wasn't planned for them at all. They're kind of stunned. But Yelena sees it as an opportunity and says to Vanessa that we own you now. So there we go. That's the origin of the new Avengers. And literally 2 days after the film came out, 3 days, 3 days after it came out.
Let me talk about this. Okay, let me say something. Stop it. Stop it. Honestly, you're getting the Oklahoma Valley girl now. I was okay with it being Thunderbolts asterisk. Okay, I thought it was cute. I thought it was, quirky. Do you always have to be that person, Marvel? I can't even get my words straight.
So angry.
Do you always have to be the try-hard? Do you? You have made billions. You're still making billions off of the original Avenger movies and everything. Could you not have just said what it was? Could you? I know it would have been a major spoiler and everything, but get over yourself. We knew it was coming. Can you just give the Thunderbolts something to go play? Let them go play soccer for a movie or two, and then they'll make them the new Avengers. But this whole changing the name thing really pisses me off, and it annoys me so much because it's why? And now I'm confused of what to actually call it.
And the thing is, though, I'd be fine with them changing the title later on.
Mm-hmm.
But they did it after the first weekend. I guess they decided that they didn't want to spoil it for the superfans, who are most likely to go and see the film in the first weekend. And everyone else, well, maybe this will lure them in. I guess that's the thought process.
I gotta be honest, I've seen a lot of the, pull the piece of paper from Thunderbolts to New Avengers. I am a very perceptive person when it comes to people and, their, body language and everything. just because you think everybody's excited, Marvel, some of those actors looked quite annoyed as well. Okay.
you mentioned that there's a video of Sebastian Stan going around and putting up new posters over the Thunderbolts one to say New Avengers, and he looks like he
looks miserable.
He doesn't look like he wants to be there at all.
Yeah. I mean, he could be playing it up.
He could be.
Oh my gosh, guys! Just like pick a lane. Actually, no, not pick a lane. Pick a name. And stick with it. It's so... I am never like this about movies, because I'm like, creativity is great, and who am I to be that person? But in this situation, I'm like, it was a movie I liked, for one.
Yeah.
Two, I don't have a two, because I just think it's stupid. Like, you could have done the name change in the second movie. Like, it could have been Thunderbolts, obviously asterisk. And then the second part, it could be the New Avengers.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't object to the team being called the New Avengers. I remember seeing someone posting somewhere going, what does this team have anything to do with the Avengers? They don't have the right power levels, etc. And I'm like, no, I don't care about any of that. Because in the Marvel comics, particularly in the early 2000s, they did introduce a team called the New Avengers that was very much filled with the heavy hitters. So it was Captain America and Iron Man, as you would expect, but also Wolverine, Spider-Man, Hawkeye ended up joining at some point, and the Sentry joined eventually.
Do you think we'll get more Renner?
Maybe, if they pay him enough, apparently.
Do you want to know what? Give him the money. Give him the money. We need to see more Renner.
But they've done all sorts of different Avengers team. They at one point there was even the Dark Avengers, which is kind of like what these guys are. So the Dark Avengers were the state-sponsored Avengers that were all reformed supervillains. So you had Norman Osborn as the Iron Patriot, you had Venom as their Spider-Man stand-in, you had Wolverine's son D'Ken as the version of Wolverine. I forget the other characters.
Here's the thing about the early 2000s, okay? And I was there. I was there. And I saw this with music, with TV, with movies, with books. The recycling process was real. It was in full force. Like, we had like 18,000 Scooby-Doo movies with sequels, you know?
Yeah.
We had so many things like that. We don't need a Dark Avengers. I
liked the story.
I'm saying
I liked it.
Those stories could still exist, but maybe have a different name. Like, I don't know, the bad guy
the Thunderbolts.
squad. Yeah, like the bad guys
and,
squad.
You know, the funny thing is that, well, I say funny, this is clearly where they're taking inspiration from for the film. A lot of those villains had been on the Thunderbolts as well, and then they were rebranded as the New Avengers with Norman Osborn leading them.
Wait, Norman Osborn became a good guy?
No, he was not a good guy. No. He was not a good guy, but, you know, he was presented as the good guy. I mean, it's a lot to get into, but basically they did the whole Civil War storyline where the government demanded that superheroes had to be registered. You had the people that went along with it and the people that didn't. It
sounds an awful lot like a few things the history books teach us about.
Very much so, yes. And Norman Osborn led the team that was the registered people, the people that were going along with what the government wanted, but he obviously had his own agenda.
Marvel, I have some ideas. let me run one by you, and it's the main one. Magneto. Just Magneto. Just have a movie dedicated to just having Ian McKellen and Fassbender in a room talking to each other as old Magneto, new Magneto.
Do you know X-Men First Class initially started out as a Magneto movie?
And by the way, old Magneto is Fassbender, and McKellen
is the young one.
No, because he's the old. Yes, because he's the older Magneto.
Yeah.
And then the newer Magneto is obviously Ian McKellen because he's the present day one. But yeah, what were you saying?
X-Men First Class started out as a Magneto movie. It was the premise was Magneto Nazi hunter, which would have been great. I would have watched the whole 2 hours of that, 2.5 hours.
What is that Tarantino movie with the waltz in it? That is the
Django?
No, it was Fury?
Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, Inglourious Basterds. take that part of Tarantino's movie and just Magneto.
Yeah, so when Christoph Waltz says, "Have you got any Jews hiding underneath?" Magneto pulls the metal out of his teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I'm down for that. I'm down to see creative uses of his magnetism power. Like I liked in X-Men 2 where Mystique injected that security guard with the iron solution, and then Magneto just like ripped it out of his blood. I thought that was cool.
Wait, I'm remembering this correctly. He went after the bad guys, didn't he? Christoph Waltz's character.
No, he was.
Okay, no, we don't want Magneto because we want Magneto to be the bad guy that's actually a good guy.
Yeah.
We want him to find the Nazis and kill them.
Yes.
Not the lovely other people.
Yes, not anyone that was being persecuted.
Yeah, I was like thinking about that. I was like, I'm misremembering this. It's just because I love Christoph Waltz. Mm-hmm. He's a joyous, wonderful actor. But yeah, just guys, do a Magneto movie. Just do that. It's if you were finding it really hard to come up with like new things, just do Magneto. I will go to the cinema and buy 6 tickets.
Just so you can lay down.
And I don't have to sit next to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest with you, sitting next to people recently hasn't been too much of a problem. But we've also been to see kid movies where it's just they're laughing out of joy, and it's quite nice to hear. But yeah, Marvel, I do like you, but you're getting a bit repetitive. And although this was quite refreshing in terms of the actual storyline.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff that I have seen recently, besides Echo, because was it Echo that you were watching? That looked amazing, and the storyline with that was a lot different than anything else. But it is getting repetitive, and it's getting to the point with all studios and creative studios where it starts to repeat itself. And just because you have a new actor, mm-hmm. sometimes you probably need a new storyline. And maybe we've done the Avengers.
Well.
And we could have had something. Although I am looking forward to this, I just think they should have just stuck with the Thunderbolts for a while. Mm-hmm. Like just like that. Because it's giving I don't even know how many Marvel movies there were in the end. I've seen most of them.
Yeah.
But it's like giving like Endgame Part 75.
There is a little bit. But one of the things I did like about them adopting the identity of the new Avengers is the post-credits scene, where it flashes forward 14 months. So mm-hmm. that tells us roughly when they're expecting to release the whatever the new movie's called, the new Avengers movie. What is it? Secret War, I think, or is it Doomsday? Sorry, it's Doomsday.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of them, and I'm losing track of them mm-hmm. as well. But they're together and they're talking about how Sam Wilson, Falcon, Captain America, is suing them over the Avengers name because he's got his own Avengers team.
He's copyright. He made it copyright.
And you remember from Captain America: Brave New World. President Harrison Ford said, "I want you to reform the Avengers." Mm-hmm. And I guess that's what he's done in the interim. But the really exciting thing from that post-credit scene is there's some sort of intergalactic threat that the new Avengers are not being told about, and they're like, at least they could do. No, it's not Superman.
Oh, okay.
At least the original Avengers could do is tell us what's going on. But then they detect an incursion from another dimension, and they bring it up on their satellite, and it's a spaceship that looks like a very 1950s spaceship. I'm doing like a hand gesture. Oh, this was the part
that I just. Oh my gosh!
You clapped.
I told you what it was going to be before.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you saw a hint to it in the credits where they said music by blah blah blah, and you were like, I know that. But anyway. The spaceship comes into focus and it kind of twists around a little bit, and it's got a 4 written on it.
Oh.
And it played the music from the Fantastic Four trailer, the Fantastic Four.
Okay, here's the thing. I know I just went on a whole rant.
Yeah.
But I liked the last Fantastic Four with like Michael B. Jordan and stuff. I really liked that one.
You did like that one?
Yeah.
Controversial.
I've always said that I like that. This one, I think I'm going to like it a lot. Not just because it's Pedro Pascal, but there's so many great actors and actresses in that movie that I think it's going to be great. And see, this is my thing. Yes, I get it. I went on a whole rant about it, but I'm allowed to be a hypocrite. It's my podcast. With this, they're not repeating the Avengers.
No.
They're not repeating the Fantastic Four. It's a new Fantastic Four, but you automatically know that some of the storyline is going to be the same. Some of it's going to be the same. Some of it's going to be different, but you know what you're going into. And I think that's the problem I had. I mean, the only problem I had with this movie is the fact that they changed the name. That could have come at a different time. I think it was too soon. They could have just done that in the second movie. Like, it would have been a better in my opinion, even though, because I'm the best at PR, I think it would have been a better PR event if they would have said Thunderbolts 2, and then for the trailer of Thunderbolts 2, that's when they should have ripped the paper off and put the new Avengers continue.
I guess the reason why they didn't do that, though, is because their Avengers Doomsday movie... No, it was... Okay, Greed, yeah, okay, fine, you can say that. But the reason why they're not doing that is because for the next Avengers movie, it's basically going to have everybody in it. It's going to have the Thunderbolts, it's going to have the original Avengers, as many of them as they can get anyway. As many of the Guardians of the Galaxy as they can get, which looks like it's probably just going to be... what's his name? Chris...
Hemsworth?
No, not Chris Hemsworth.
Pratt?
Chris Pratt, there we go, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Chris Pratt. They're trying to get Spider-Man for it, allegedly.
They have to ask Sony for that, though.
Apparently so.
Tom. We love you, Tom.
They're bringing in the Fantastic Four for it, and the X-Men. So this is going to be an absolutely massive movie. Is it going to be a new cast of X-Men? No, it's the original X-Men are all coming over. Or at least as many of them as they can get.
From the 90s, 2000s movies?
Yes, so Ian McKellen, Pat Stewart, obviously Hugh Jackman, James Marsden. I didn't see Famke Janssen on there, but...
She probably is. They wouldn't do it without Jean.
Yeah, Halle Berry said she's not in it, but then she's been posting a lot of videos of herself training and like learning like martial arts and stuff, which makes me think...
If anybody ever says anything bad about Halle Berry, I will have problems with that. I love her so much.
But the whole thing is, and Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, but he's playing Doctor Doom.
Oh God,
I think that could be quite interesting.
I think it's fine, but if you're gonna bring him back, just somehow bring him back as Iron Man.
Well, I think we'll agree to disagree.
Or just have Robert Downey Jr. play Robert Downey Jr. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Dr. Robert Downey Jr. Doom.
Yeah, like, no, Robert Downey Jr., his life story is great. Like, redemption, a redemption king. I still think they could have done, like, the Avengers movie, right? Mm-hmm. And then they could have done another Thunderbolts movie instead of Thunderbolts 2, done the ripping of the paper. Yeah. It would have been so much... It would have made so much more sense.
Yeah, but the whole premise of like they've said that the movie after the Doomsday one is going to be called Secret War, and that the whole premise of Secret War was that they had a character called the Beyonder that brought together all these different heroes together to fight on a planet against some villains. And in more recent years, they've done one where Doctor Doom essentially basically becomes God and creates his own universe, which kind of mashes together all different universes. And I think that's more likely what they're going to do, considering it's got the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, who are allegedly in their own universe.
So it's one entity has brought them all together.
Yeah.
Can I interject for a second?
Yes.
I think that's the right word. Have any of you guys seen Justice League, the animated series? And do you guys know who Martian Manhunter is?
People listening?
Yeah, it sounds an awful lot like what Martian Manhunter did.
How do you mean?
Brought them together.
I don't know. I don't think it's the same.
I'm very negative in this one, even though I loved the movie. It's just the one thing that pissed me off. That's the way I am. I hyperfixate on one thing, and I'm just a bit fed up of the Avengers stuff. Not the actual like Avengers. I liked those movies a lot, and I enjoyed them. Most of them. I think there was like one or two, sideline movies that I didn't care for. They were still okay, but I just didn't care for them. It just would have been really nice to have something. Let them have like their thing for just a little bit, and then they can be the Avengers that they were meant to be. But I'm a bit fed up of the Avengers. It's been nearly 20 years now. Yeah. In about 3 years' time. Wait, was it 2008 it came out?
I think so. Yeah, 2008 was when Iron Man came out.
Yeah.
Or was it 2007?
I can't remember. But it's almost been 20 years. And I am tired.
I think they've leaned a bit too heavily into the multiverse stuff, because I'm a bit fed up of it. Apart from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, that was really good.
Oh, I will never say anything bad about that. I cannot wait for the next one. I mean, I can, but I'm very excited about that. In terms of stuff Marvel's brought out, this movie was great, but I think Into the Spider-Verse has been one of my favorite things that they've brought out recently.
Did I ever share the anecdote about what happened at the end of the last movie when we went to the cinema? You'll know, Mary, but I don't remember if I said it on the podcast before.
I don't remember.
So we were there watching the latest Spider-Verse movie. What was it? Beyond the Spider-Verse? Is that what it was called?
Something like that.
Anyway, so it reaches the dramatic conclusion with Miles tied up by the Prowler, who is revealed to be an alternate universe Miles Morales, and it pops up and says, "To be continued." And this little girl on the front row burst into tears and went, "No!"
She said what we were all thinking.
Yeah, and they were like, "It's all right, it'll be out soon, another one will be out soon." She goes, "I want it to keep going."
But that's how good it was that a little girl was like, they were into it. Like there were quite a few kids in that screening, because we go to the movies really early in the morning, and a lot of people bring their children there because they have something called quiet time, and then whatever. But all of these kids, not a word, because that's how amazing those movies are. Not a word, not a peep, until that little girl does that. Well, actually, that's a lie, because there was a lot of clapping.
There were gasps as well. Like, I think I went, for F's sake.
But what there wasn't like conversations. Like, the kids were actually in tune with it, with the adults, and it was really great. Because that sort of multiverse thing is more refreshing than the Avengers thing that's been kind of like, we've been doing this for like 20 years.
I mean, you do say that, but how Fantastic Four seems to be set in its own universe, which is kind of like this pseudo 60s world, and I think it looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, I like that, but what I'm talking about is like, can we not just have our single, like our own franchises now? Like, can we just have a Fantastic Four? Can we not just have a Thunderbolts? Can we not just have a Captain America? Can we not just have like a Winter Soldier? Like,
yeah, we didn't talk very much about Bucky in this, did we? Old Winter Soldier.
I didn't. He was a big part of it.
He was a big part.
I think just when you talk about Bucky, and this is one thing that you have to say about the actor, Sebastian Stan, he plays that role very well, because it shows growth in character, and I speak about this a lot because it's quite hard to do that. But it shows that he's had growth in his character, but also he is fundamentally the same person that he was. And he seems to be at odds with it a little bit, but they've done that part of the story. Now he's trying to get the good in the world again, I guess. I think he's trying to find that, because he was supposed to be like a senator or something like that.
Yeah, he'd just been elected. He was trying to get a bill through. Wasn't working out for him.
And he was trying to do that sort of good in the world. But he's like, nah, that's not it. And then when he meets up with the New Avengers, Thunderbolts people, and they have their little qualms, and he finds out, oh, these guys are actually trying to do some good. I'm gonna get in on that. And that's when we see the true Bucky, instead of the uh, fake Bucky. It's like the Senator Bucky.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have nothing bad to say about the actors in this movie at all, and that's awesome. And I know that they're going to continue to do really great jobs with this particular line of movies. It's just the name gets me. It's like, come on, let them have that. Like, let them be their own franchise already. So yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts on that.
Yes.
Loved the movie. It was a very good storyline. As somebody who, I'm very open about having mental health struggles. I'm not perfect. Never claimed to be. And I don't think any of us are perfect. But it's really nice to see that there are other people in this world that kind of go through some of the same things that you have. And they write about it. Or they act in it, or something like that. And it's really great because the youth at the moment will be able to learn from that. And I wish I had something like this in my youth that made me feel less alone. And yeah, I liked it, loved it. And again, the cast are just phenomenal. Even outside of this movie, they're phenomenal. I can't say enough nice things about it.
Yeah.
I can say that I did not like the name thing, and I think recycling things like that is a bit much, and it's just, yeah.
I think that a lot of your listeners probably haven't watched this film, but I would say if you've got a Disney Plus subscription, watch it when it comes out. And come back to us and let us know how you enjoyed it.
I want to know what they're gonna put it as though on Disney Plus. Is it gonna be Thunderbolts or New Avengers?
It'll probably be put out as Thunderbolts and then in brackets the New Avengers.
It's probably because of I'm neurodivergent and I don't like that sort of change, and I think that's what's kind of getting me. Mm-hmm. And it's yeah, I'm getting back to Valley Girl. Yep. Should we get to the comments?
Yeah, let's do it. So, first comment is from David Carney, who says, "Hi, Mary and Luke. I'm more of a Star Trek fan. I've watched the original Star Wars films. I think they're all right. The fan base is kind of toxic. It's like we can't have nice things. I've only ever seen Pedro Pascal in Game of Thrones. Have a good week, everyone." Yeah, so David's referring to your last episode, which was about the first episode of The Mandalorian to commemorate Star Wars Day.
Is he saying Star Wars fandom is toxic, or Star Trek?
Star Wars, yes.
Star Wars. I can see that because although the people that I know that like Star Wars, personally know, they're really oh yeah, I'll tell you why I like this, and you don't have to like it. But going online to some of these forums, it's I feel like I have to like those things just to not be called those names.
I thought there was something very funny recently with... I've not seen Andor. I watched the first episode of season 1 and didn't go back to it. Not because I think it's bad, but just because I didn't care.
You have so many other things you were doing as well.
Yes. But there's been a lot of talk online about how this season of Andor is anti-American and very critical of Trump and why can't the libs leave Star Wars alone, etc. But they needed to be reminded that show was written nearly 2 years ago and they finished filming about a year ago, which was long before the election. So the fact that they are seeing parallels with the current administration in the Empire and their awful behaviour, I think maybe, just maybe, there's something wrong. Maybe. And it isn't with the people making the show. Anyway, to get off my soapbox, we'll have a look at the next comment, which is from Ryan Jones, who says, "I am back and happy Star Wars Day, Luke and Mary. I am a casual Star Wars fan. I like and watch the movies and watch the Disney Plus shows, but not the animated shows or all of the video games because it overwhelmed me. The Mandalorian is the best one of the Disney Plus shows, and next year the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be released. Also, I did enjoy the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. My favourite Star Wars movie is Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, because it has one of my favourite Star Wars quotes, "I am your father." My other favourite is Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. I also like The Last Jedi. I know not everyone will agree with me, but that movie... but anything is better than The Phantom Menace and the Star Wars Holiday Special. Since Star Wars is a space adventure fairy tale, it is not surprising or a coincidence that Disney would buy the rights to Lucasfilm, because before Disney bought Lucasfilm, they made 2 Lucasfilm attractions at the Disney parks with George Lucas. And did you know that George was at the original Disneyland second day it opened? I'm sorry, Luke, but Star Wars Day is a real holiday. But the Mario Day and Disney Day is a real holiday also. But for me, every day is Mario Day and
Obviously,
Disney Day.
I was going to say something along those lines. It's like, it's Mario.
Yes.
I love him.
Yes, it's like Batman Day. Every day is Batman Day in my house.
I have to say something.
Yeah, go on.
So I went to Selfridges once. Well, I've been to Selfridges quite a few times, but I went there once for a signing with the man that does the Mario voice.
Yeah, Charles Martinet.
And when I told him my name, do you know what he said to me? It's a Mario!
Yes.
It was awesome!
Yes, he said, and then as we were telling him our names to sign stuff, he went, Super Lucio and Princess Mary!
Yeah. I loved it so much.
Yes, he had a lot of fun.
It was one of the most wholesome things I've ever done. I was so happy to do it, even though I wasn't feeling the best.
May the 16th is my birthday, and when you record the Thunderbolts episode, it will literally be on my birthday. Is today May 16th?
It's the 17th. Happy belated birthday!
Yes.
Wait, are you a fellow Gemini, or are you like a Taurus or something? Or Scorpion? Scorpio?
Did we have this conversation before and he said he doesn't believe in it?
Well, I don't really either, but I just like the fact that I can buy like shirts that say like Gemini, and I could be like, oh, I did something wrong. I'm sorry, it's because I'm a Gemini. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
The get out of jail free card. The idiots that say that black people shouldn't be in Star Wars are not only wrong, but also they are very racist. And they also say that Rey from the sequel trilogy is feminist garbage. And I'm like, who did you think Princess Leia was? She was super woke. Mary, why did you watch AI-generated videos? They are brain rot. Luke, before this episode, I wanted to make a Luke Skywalker joke to you, but since you don't like them jokes, I won't do it. It's too late, you've already done it. I'm mortally wounded.
There's a lot of things Luke doesn't like that I still do.
Yeah, there's not very many things I do like. But anyway, I know that we would say disturbing things to people we don't like, but I always say don't become what you hate. Bad karma will hit them in the end. And Elon Musk, or as I like to call him, Nazi Musk, is finally getting bad karma for helping to get the con man in the White House, I hear.
Truth.
Good to know. By the way, Mary, why would you be friends with Nazi Musk? It's like wanting to be friends with the Trump kids.
Did I say I'd be friends with him?
I don't know. I think you said you wouldn't be friends.
Yeah, I
surely.
wouldn't be friends with him.
Might have misspoken.
It's my that is. I'm not trying to get political here, although I think everybody here knows my political thoughts. I love the fact that we need to get together and just support each other. But Elon Musk would never be a friend of mine. For one, not in his tax bracket. Number two, I don't like some of the video games he plays. And number three, I don't do salutes that I shouldn't do.
Number 4, he doesn't actually play the games. He pays people to play them for him so that he looks like he's good.
I thought that was... Is that true?
Yes, that is true.
Oh, that cheater,
Absolute. I mean, account sharing like that, unbelievable. I'd ban him in a second. But anyway. Fun fact, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher's reaction to anyone who mentions the holiday special is priceless.
I think I've seen something like that.
Yes, it was very bad. For a while, the holiday special existed on YouTube, and I watched it, and I was like, this is absolutely terrible. But anyway.
I think you can still find it on YouTube, but it's
Okay.
quite hard. Well, it's hard. I say
As
that.
hard
I
as
would,
typing is.
Yeah, I would just like, I'm not going to type it in. I'm going to keep... I've seen the first Star Wars film, and that was good. And I kind of want to keep my vision of that. I have seen the first episode of the other one, though. The Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember my thoughts on that, because it changes every time I talk about it.
All right, let's go on to the next comment, which is from Lowell Lucas Jr., who says... Hey, today it's totally Schway. May the Fourth be with you in a galaxy far, far away. Use the Force, Luke, to save the day.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hope you are well. I'm still healing from my surgery, but wanted to thank you all for everything. The food, the wine, the stories, the merriment known as our comment section has enthralled me while Luke and Mary decipher our tomb of moon letters. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Loves it.
I wonder if that's tome probably. It's my mistake. I genuinely appreciate it and welcome the great news on my long journey to retrieve the hoarded gold. I will make a confession on Star Wars. While I enjoy the art, the lore and the story, I fell off of it, much like the goddamn Luke Skywalker man mentioned. It all started in the comment section long ago, when there was a discussion of the animated micro-series The Clone Wars by Gennady Tartakovsky. These beautiful animated shorts were given the green light to get a second season, and were to be tied into Revenge of the Sith. However, when I questioned how a character, Asajj Ventress, was alive after her battle with Anakin, I was told by the Oracle comments, "Oh, that's not canon." I was like, wait, but these were canon events. Lucas even said they tied into the films. Now it's not canon? Well, forget this. At that moment, I felt there was no point in feeling invested. If there was a story beat I enjoyed, but would later get retconned into something else, I would just go with the flow. Oh, sure, I enjoyed Book of Boba Fett and Mando, but with what happened with Gina Carano and drama with the story moving forward, I'll happily step aside and watch casually. By the way, to you both, are my comments coming up? This is the second time I've listened out for them and still nothing. I'm beginning to wonder if YouTube has it out for me because I comment on every video. Sad to see this happen for the last 2 weeks now. Even Big Mikey P warned me of this some comments ago. I even checked the Minecraft Marlon Brando episode and my comments were completely gone. Luckily, I retained some memory of them and wanted to share.
So if you want to make sure we get the comments, you can always email me. Doc does that. Screen Wiper does that. I want to say their real names, but I don't know if they know their real names though.
If they
no, not them. But
the
if the audience knows their real names, so I'll say their handles. So yeah, I'll have Luke put the email in the description, and do that
it's on your profile.
Okay, it's on my profile because this has happened so many times, and I just don't understand why it happens.
Yeah, YouTube's a bit wobbly, it seems.
Because even people that don't comment very much on like some of my older videos, their comments are just disappearing before I can go in and reply to them, because it takes me a couple of hours to actually finish what I'm doing and do that, and it's gone and I don't understand why. So just email me.
To continue the comment, I rather enjoy kids getting the same thrill of a movie I do with watching Bowser teaming up with Aquaman while Amanda Waller's daughter befriends Wednesday Addams' roommate. If it can be joyous as it was for me seeing Transformers 86 in the theatres, or even the first 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, then that's plain awesome. And if they got the same joy, let them chicken jockey to the bank. Also, Mary, yes, I love the Godfather movies. My mom got me into them at an early age and must have influenced me to the point that neighbourhood kids would bring troublemakers to my home for me to dish out punishment for the betrayal on the playground. Whether this was because I was given a lot of respect or because I lived next door to the school, you be the judge. Also, beware of the horse-headed gifts under the pillows. Yeah. For now, take care, everyone. Don't let politics ruin your mojo or some pompous billionaire who fails to understand the common man. Empathy is never a weakness and leads to compassion, which is the greatest gift ever bestowed on humanity and should never be taken for granted. To that, I will thank you all. Thank you, and may the Fourth be with you on a Wookiee android on a deck.
I think I know what a Wookiee is.
It's Chewbacca.
Yeah. Oh my god, I knew what it was! Lowell, I hope you're feeling better. And I always appreciate the jingles.
Next comment is...
Oh, I also had, by the way, if you hear like that annoying sound,
stop doing it.
That's my cherry 7-Up. My diet cherry 7-Up, I should say.
Right.
And it's delicious, in case you were wondering.
Next comment then is Doc Widener, who says, thank goodness you're here.
I just watched his bird feed. I love it so much. Like, I've watched it like 3 times sitting here.
And he also says, may the Fourth be with you. Happy birth month, Mary. Yesterday was the Mrs. birthday.
Oh, yay, happy birthday!
So we struggled naming Daniel. We knew we were going with a D name. My father had a D name first and an R middle name, as I do. Originally, we were going to change Sergei's name when we adopted him, but just felt like his name fit. We did change his last name, of course, and altered his middle name from Ivanovich to Denovich. I'm not as in like, yeah, I get it. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Russian middle names, but means son of Den. There is only one person who calls me Den, and he is a guy I worked with who drops trailing syllables off a first name. So Yasmin is Yaz, Mikhail is Mike, and weirdly Brendan is Brandon. He can never get his guy's name straight. I have thought about calling him Joseph, but Joe is really a nice guy in every other way, and I let it slide. I kind of wonder if it is a Philly thing, because as we know, I go to the office 5 days a week to work remotely with other people. Yeah.
I'm not laughing at you, Dennis. I'm laughing at
the absurdity.
Yeah, because you drive to a place to work with other people remotely.
Yeah. Anyhow, back to Daniel. The initial thought was my dad's first name as his first name, and my father-in-law's first name as the middle name. Daniel is 8 years younger than Sergei, so I spent the better part of that time saying, Sergei, do this, or Sergei, don't do that, and decided I do not want to do that with my dad's name, especially since Dad had passed when I was 19. So I wanted to go with Dmitri to match Sergei. The missus said he wasn't Russian. I argued it would give them something to bond over. I later got a rare admission from the missus that I was probably right. She actually wanted to name him Daniil for R. Daniil Olivor from the Asimov books. I was sorely tempted, but decided we should split the difference and go with Daniel. So I spent a good part of yesterday trying to find Daniel's band shirt, which he had last at Christmas. I put it somewhere so it wouldn't get messed up, but I did too good of a job.
I do that all the time.
I know that feeling. But eventually found Sergei's. I don't think the design changed much, but we'll see it today. I'm still not sure where Daniel's is. I told his band director I was disappointed. For a May the 4th concert, there was a distinct lack of Star Wars music. Good Lord Mary, I wish the Star Wars community was that way. Luke is right. It is a minority of fans, but it is a loud minority.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would enjoy Andor, except for the fact the descent into racism is a bit spot on. Luke, you really should keep going with Andor. It starts a bit slow, but it builds very nicely. I love Season 2. I'm torn about this season's release schedule, 3 episodes at a time. Each 3-episode arc takes place over a few days of a given year as we approach the Battle of Yavin. Languages. There are many in Star Wars. Mary, you'll recall, with Uncle Owen, is buying C-3PO,
Oh, yeah.
At the start of Star Wars. 1 was when 7 came out, so I still call it Episode 4. I was 7 when it came out, so I still call Episode 4 A New Hope, just Star Wars. He asked C-3PO if he could speak Bokeh. I'm probably mispronouncing that because I can't remember. He also asked him about programming their vaporators. So when 3PO replies he is fluent in over 6 million forms of communication, I always thought he was including programming languages. I'm not sure if I'm repeating Big Mikey P, but there are lots of examples of languages other than the basic English in Star Wars. And to nitpick with Luke, Han understands Chewie, 3PO understood Chewie, and that was about it. Oh, and Ben Kenobi. Luke and Leia were working on it across the films, but no, there are lots of examples of language issues in Star Wars. Even 3PO struggled with talking with the Ewoks early on.
This is why, before I comment on something, I should watch the rest of it. Because after I said that, I realized with the C-3PO, I was like, but that is a different language. Like, it really is. And then I was thinking about, I don't remember what it was. I think it was like something to do with my father-in-law, a poster that Luke bought him. And then I was like, it has nothing to do with Chewie. And then I was like, oh, but Chewie, that's not English. So yeah, my bad.
To continue Doc's comment, he says, Stargate.
SG-1.
No, just Stargate.
Oh.
Not just Big Mikey P banging his head, or maybe only me, but I get it. There is a lot of sci-fi out there. So Stargate started with the 1994 movie from Emmerich's The Ones Who Brought You Independence Day, Ferris Bueller, versus something that looks kind of like Godzilla, and 2012, among other things, with Kurt Russell and James Spader. I enjoyed it. They then made Stargate SG-1, which was a series originally on Showtime before it moved to Sci-Fi. The concept was there was a big galactic empire that used these Stargates to travel between worlds. I am glossing over a lot, but thinking of Luke's voice. Yeah, I'm glad someone is. Early SG-1 was very Trek-like. Let's go to a different world each week that is kind of like an ancient culture on Earth and try to liberate them from the evil aliens who now are parasitic, symbiotic creatures that take over people because human bodies are better. Later season, when it moved to Sci-Fi Channel, it got a bit more serialised and less episodic. Stargate Atlantis was a spin-off, but the team ends up in a more distant location and are actually cut off from home except for when they aren't for plot reasons. It really is a lot better than I'm describing, but it would be a lot to try and watch. Stargate 1 started in 1997, Atlantis in 2004. SG-1 started in 1997, Atlantis in 2004. I am one of the handful of folks that like Stargate Universe that came out in 2009. Much like Star Trek Discovery or some other long-running franchise, it got hit with the "it doesn't feel like Stargate" label because they're doing something new, and new is bad.
I've heard a lot of good things about Stargate.
Yeah, I never really had the patience for it, I'm afraid. Chris Gaines, I would have been done by now had Mary asked. Technically, she asked Big Mikey P, but I knew what she was talking about. I like Garth, too progressive for some country fans. Disappointed with some of the more recent accusations, but still only accusations as far as I know. Chris Gaines felt like I was watching a combination of midlife crisis and imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. Through his Saturday Night Live gig, where Garth was the host and Chris was the musical guest, was clever and funny. It just feels like Rowling when she came up with a pen name to write her new non-Harry Potter books. I understand you don't want to be typecast, but I think it's better to go the Taylor Swift Beyonce route, where you decide I want to do something different and this album is going to be me trying pop, country, folk, etc. It would be as though Luke decided when he launched his comics channel he would call it Pond Elixir Comics. Ha ha ha. At least with that you might have a good reason. You have been worried that comics coverage is hurting your main channel, so a similar name might be confusing. But with PEC, you would also want to adopt an American or bad French accent.
I didn't know the accusations against Garth until literally I just looked it up just now. That's another thing I can take off of my music listening.
Well, are they just accusations so far?
Yeah.
Remember, people have accused me of being a communist and anti-American and so on and so forth. Baseless accusations, I might add.
One of the great things I love about Garth Brooks, and he's even sung about this, obviously I don't know him personally, and the accusations, I'm always for the victim. Like, I don't care how much I've liked somebody, I'm always for the victim. Unless proven otherwise. But Garth Brooks has been an ally to the queer community for so long, because obviously it affects him and his family. And to find a country music singer at the time that he had become popular and the time when I was young was it was a myth, and it just sucks that someone who could do so much good could potentially do something like awful, and that's kind of just broken my heart. And I know there are accusations now, but we have learned over especially the last 10 years, that we should listen to the victims, and if we listen, we can change the way the entertainment industry works. And I hope he didn't do it, but let's be honest, I've said that about a lot of the actors and actresses, and it's just, there's not been one that it's been proven that they didn't do it, which sucks.
To continue Doc's comment and finish it off, he says, enjoyed our brunch, have not seen Thunderbolts. The drive-in does have it as the front half of a double feature with Captain America Brave New World. Unfortunately, a combination of rainy weather, shirt hunting, and taking my mother-in-law to the ER because she fell and hit her head, and is on blood thinners, so out of an abundance of caution, took her. Yeah. I have not made it out to see it. I've only heard good things.
Oh, I hope Mom and Dad's gonna be okay.
Yes, absolutely. Next comment then is from Big Mikey P, and it's a long one. It took me a very long time to scroll through it all. So let's get on with it. So Big Mikey P says, looks like binging Girls and Panzer the TV show and Anne of Green Gables 1978 will have to wait. Not my Star Wars. But as long as it isn't the Rise of Skywalker, it is manageable. Anyway, may the 4th be with you guys and gals too. Can understand why some can never understand Star Wars, for I feel the same way about Star Trek and Doctor Who, even if some elements of those franchises I admittedly enjoy. Those Federation teleporters and the nuance of folks like the Klingons and the Doctor's many diverse iterations and the TARDIS's hammer space. Am no Star Wars dimwit, but I sure have so many gripes against my fave franchises, even in the more preferable Legends continuity, not into most of the Marvel 1977 comics and especially the Denningverse from the Darkness trilogy to Crucible. I was fine about John Boyega's Finn, it's just that his character lost relevance in, yes, The Rise of Skywalker. Meanwhile, I'm more of a Poe Dameron fan. Strange to start the Disney canon with The Mandalorian, not the obvious The Clone Wars 2008s. That's like starting to watch the DCAU on Batman Beyond, not BTAS. I think if Mary was seriously trying to get into it, she would have watched something else, but she just wanted to watch something Star Wars on Star Wars Day, and Pedro Pascal was the easy way in.
Yeah, and I love Pedro Pascal. He is super adorable in terms of like when he does interviews and everything, like, it's cute. Let's be real.
Well, season of Andor is doing 3 episodes per week as of writing this, so I'm like, yeah, cool. In Disney's Star Wars defense, they admittedly feel more watchable than the CW Disney stuff, and especially Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, say that again. What?
He doesn't feel like Grey's Anatomy is very watchable. Mary,
We don't have to read the rest of his comment.
Yeah, the rest of comment, Mary is a bit wrong, never mind. As an aside, nah, granted, not English, in calm hindsight. 8 out of 10 for the show.
No, that's okay if you don't like it.
If I have to grudgingly recommend, what good? All right, I'll read it properly. I'm joking.
By the way. I love Grey's Anatomy. That doesn't mean you have to love it.
Where did I actually get to? So, minus The Rise of Skywalker, of course, and some like perhaps the Kenobi miniseries, John Jackson Miller's Legends novel is better. Mary is a bit wrong. Din Djarin, the titular Mandalorian, hasn't actually interacted with the blue-skinned Thrawn of Rebels and Ashoka family at this point of alt universe lore. Did Mary say that? That doesn't sound like something she'd say.
To be honest, anything I said about this show was probably wrong.
Not sure if the upcoming Filoniverse movie will change that. Never mind. It was a different blue dude, not the Chiss kind. Guess they're Duro, probably. Okay, so he's addressed that. As an aside, not all Mandalorians hide their faces. See Legend stuff like the Republic Commando novel. They hired instructors for the clones from Camino. And alt universe stuff like the Clone Wars and Rebels, the Death Watch and Bo-Katan Kryze's people. Nah, The Empire Strikes Back is the 5th movie and as good as and a great one at that. Second would be Attack of the Clones, which is imperfect but gripping in its own right. Granted, Werner Herzog is also in The Boondocks, says the narrator once, methinks. Not English, it's basic in the Star Wars universe. Meantime, I'm taking shade at how the likes of Amphibia and the Owl House have English speakers, with nary a moment for how they got a TARDIS thing. Universal Translator explanation. In calm hindsight, the book of Boba Fett, I guess, ain't an abomination. Well, he's put TBOBB, so I don't know if that's the book of Boba Fett or something else. Ain't an abomination, but I don't understand why it had to later go a campy Robert Rodriguez route akin to Spy Kids and Shark Boy. Oh, and the Legends continuity already depicted Boba and even his father Jango well. Luke and Mary and others, please watch the prequel and original trilogies of the film. You all ain't big fans or average viewers if those aren't checked out fully yet. I've watched all the films, don't worry. Plus, feel free to find the backstories of the West and the Black End Mantle edits afterwards, and also try finding novelizations like Matt Strover's Revenge of the Sith, which I've admittedly started reading since this month of May's start. 8 out of 10 for the show's start. It gets quite improved later on, up to the season 2's end. Wow, you guys shrugged the Grogu hype. If I have to grudgingly recommend visual media, no comics and novels like some Darth Maul type pre-TCW 2008 Tales and Timothy Zahn's new Thrawn books respectively, though those are bigger cans of worms, of Disney Star Wars while you guys continue on The Mandalorian. The original and prequel trilogies, of course, The Clone Wars 2008, of course, Rebels, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, of course, Solo, A Star Wars Story, hope it gets a director's cut that restores the numerous criminally deleted scenes, by the way. The Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi Order, Older Legends comics is the same name is better, if still quite corny, and Tales of the Empire, pending on Tales from the Underground. Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, maybe even Squadrons, Skeleton Crew, Andor's A Star Wars Story, of course. What? Got to avoid anything heavily associated with the sequel trilogy and for now the High Republic, as seen in Battlefront 2 2017 and The Acolyte. Yes, Mary, you said Tuskegee right.
Oh my gosh, I did?
3644. No, more like a missed opportunity, particularly for anticipated climactic moments that stray away from the original Netflix predecessor show's quality. Say, Bullseye's arc. Didn't care much for that Punisher controversy or whatever. That's just empty air. I know Daredevil and perhaps Jessica Jones are good. It's just that Defenders and especially Iron Fist felt off and lost their way. Such was the shameful Inhumans era of the MCU. Which I attribute to Jeff Loeb, actually, because he was the head of Marvel TV at the time. And actually, since this podcast, I did watch all of Daredevil Born Again, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think the last episode felt a little bit rushed, and I felt the Punisher was just kind of shoehorned in. But generally, I enjoyed that show. Can't be rude to Inhumans, by the way. You know, say that to Black Bolt. He'll whisper a word and blow your skin off. However, Musk is partially right. Empathy can be foolish. 2 words, Henry Tandley. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Big Mike P, I'm afraid. 4032, the upcoming third Spider-Verse film. Don't give a damn about Rockstar's GTA anymore. It's lost its way since leaving Steam GOG for some ignorable Rockstar launcher and getting the dumb remaster. Can agree with Julia. Tropic Thunder is one heck of a film. Don't think Roscoe Lee Brown did audiobooks, far as I've searched. Again, they're niche when not abridged, and he's no Middle-earth narrating Christopher Lee. Wonder how the Amish are doing these days. Still hope that they're surprisingly nice even in these tough times, though I could be informationally biased. Does Daniel like raisins, as an aside? 50 minutes and 5 seconds. Space Cadet Rewind is the live streamer channel. Does hour-long retro flight sims with particularly Wing Commander, which I'm not into, but he so is. Reviews too. You guys might want to check them out. Eddie Murphy sure did well as Donkey from the Shrek films. If one recommends Bridge to Terabithia, I may recommend Holes for similar vibes.
Oh, Holes was pretty good.
For me, my first airplane fight was as a wee baby, but my first lucid flight was sometime after my 11th birthday. Why start with Andor and not The Clone Wars 2008 or mayhaps Rogue One? Again, I'd rather recommend Stargate SG-1 seasons 1 to 8 for season 9 onwards, and Atlantis lose their way uncontrollably. Meanwhile, Firefly and Serenity is an easy recommend. Lost me on Garth Brooks, Mary. Heard Marvel's Thunderbolts is surprisingly Schway, and an improvement over Captain America Brave New World, unless it's from those reviewer shills again. That's a good way of putting it. Surprisingly Schway. They should put that on the Blu-ray when it gets released.
Marvel, if you're listening. I will take your recommendations to watch Stargate SG-1 into consideration, but I will be honest with you. As much as I like sci-fi stuff, I think I'll just ask my brother what happens. I think. Because he'll probably explain it to me in a way where I'll be like, oh damn, I should have watched that. And I'm just thinking now, like, I could text him right now. And then he would probably be like, oh yeah, you need to watch it. He'd leave something out purposefully just so I would go and watch it.
So I don't know if anyone can tell, but my voice is actually fading out very rapidly, so I need to get through these comments quick before I expire. Right, so next we have Julia Raoul, who says, hi Luke Wilson Skywalker and Mary Sue Skywalker.
I love it.
It's me, Julia, your humble host with the most, and let me tell you my experience as somebody who's not totally into Star Wars. As a person of colour, I want to say I like Star Wars stuff, but I'm just not into the Jedi Skywalker storyline, but I like the stuff with space pirates. Han Solo reminds me of Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. And I like the bounty hunters and space mafia stuff. I like characters like Princess Leia. She was such a fighter. There's a lot about Star Wars that reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy in concept. I have played a few of the video games like Battlefront 2, the one that came out with the new films. I don't own any of the action figures, but I would like to get a few of the characters I like. But the thing that turned me off from wanting to engage with Star Wars was the toxic racist ass fans on YouTube and Twitter that made me avoid it for years since the 2000s. And when the newer Z films debuted, it made me sad seeing how the actors and even other fab, mostly women and black people, getting harassed by baddies. As a black person, I stayed away because I didn't feel welcomed. These days, every now and then, I'll read the 80s comics, and I like the Star Wars Visions anime. I like the original trilogy and the best films, but I like Mason of Baby Yoda. Oh, I wonder if that's Mando of Baby Yoda reminds me of Baby Groot. So don't get mad at me, Big Mikey P, because I'm not a die-hard fan like you. I haven't played every game and read the novels. I don't know all the lore. I came into this. I just got into this by proxy of my love and enjoyment of Guardians of the Galaxy. I like a little bit more because I'm not trying to take it. It's not trying to take itself so goddamn seriously. I still like Guardians over Star Wars because Guardians has a sense of humour and Star Wars always comes across as too dry and lacking humour for some of its characters like Luke Skywalker. But I still need to watch more of Mando. I only watched season 1 and I enjoyed both seasons of Star Wars Visions, so I would watch more anime Star Wars. Anyway, sorry for talking non-stop. So until next time, true believers, Luke Skywalker Wilson and Mary Sue Skywalker.
Don't you ever apologize. And by the way, we love you.
And now for the final comment that has loaded. So if you left a comment and it hasn't showed up, blame YouTube. I did look in the held for review section and it was empty. So these are all the comments that made their way to us. And it's from RJ Productions, formerly known as Harry Flew TV, who says, prepare for a grammatically confusing comment written in the BFG's language. I know it seems random, but let's see how far Luke gets reading without stuttering. Lol. Bring water for Luke's poor throat. Yeah, I think I've already failed, frankly. While I is not a humongous fan of the War of the Stars, any Totally Schway episode is scrumdiddlyumptious, whiz-popping time. I's wish all the bestest wonderful wonky week. You is deserving much more notice, and I's always listening to your audio squeaker conversations with a cup of tea. It's no frobscottle, but I's finding it just as scrumdiddlyumptious. Okay, I'm done trolling tired old Luke Wilson, lol. Hope you guys have a great week. Should probably drink some water after reading this, but I might try to rival Big Mikey P with how long my comments get. Lol. I've been drinking water throughout. Like whenever Mary's talking, I switch to some water, and I feel like I'm getting a cold coming on now, which is a new thing. So well done, whoever transferred the cold through the comments to me. You're on my bad list.
So what's the next episode going to be about? It's going to be celebrating Ian McKellen.
Yeah, I think. Do we want to limit it to any specific roles, or do you just want to talk about him generally?
Probably just like the X-Men and
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And maybe his stage show that we went to see, his one-man show.
I'm sure I've talked about how much I love Lord of the Rings, haven't I?
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so I just want to thank you guys again for just being here and being part of my little family. I love you guys as much as like I can imagine loving friends and stuff. And I really appreciate it. And thank you for just being so kind and just being, because again, with everything that's going on in the world, it's just nice to appreciate human beings that are kind. And even if you don't agree on like favorite films or favorite songs or favorite flavors, it's really nice to be able to have a great conversation about it. And that's what you guys do for me. And every time that I am thinking and I am down, like thinking of, and being down, I come back to you guys, and I just appreciate that I have you guys in my life. So thank you. I know I do this sometimes at the end of the show, but I feel like I need to, because I feel like I owe you guys so much just for being here and for being alive. So thank you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful time. And next week you can listen to Totally Schway on Luke's channel while I still write Superman stuff for my channel. Alright, I love you guys. Have a great day. Oh, and Doc, I love your birdhouse. That was so bad. Like, I shouldn't have done it in my, like, too excited voice. I love your birdhouse, by the way. I think I've said that, but I'm saying it again. Have a great day, guys.